Hello and welcome to the answers to paper 3, which is the old level 2 calculator paper from 2008-2009. Question 1 is on significant figures and decimal places. When you round to one significant figure, you take the first digit of the number and round it to whatever that value is. So 31.8, the first digit is 3, the value is 10, so it's 30, then it's 2, then it's 2 tens, and it's 5. So remember, you've got to keep the value of that digit the same. So one significant figure, first digit, look at the one after, is it 5 or more, round up, less than 5, leave it alone. To work this out, you've got 30 times 2 is 60, divided by 15, which gives you 4. And then when you work it out in your calculator using the fraction button, you get 4.179428571, or something like that. Two decimal places, you take the first 2 digits after the decimal point, and you look at the number after, which is a 9, so that means you round up to 4.18. To two significant figures, you go from the first digit of the number, the 4, 1, 2, so it's 4.1, but look at the 7, and because it's 5 or more, you round up, so it becomes 4.2 to two significant figures. Okay, number 2 is on sequences. The Fibonacci sequence, you add the previous digit, the next one, to get the one after that. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, 5 plus 8 is 13, 13 plus 21 is 34, 34 plus 21 is 55. So take care of those. You do have a calculator to use if you need it. Multiples of 5 in the 5 times table, they are 5 and 55. Factors of 40, you could have had a number of these. 1, 2, 5 or 8. So 1, 2, 5 or 8 for that one. 2-digit prime numbers, well 13 is a 2-digit prime number. The other one is 89. Can't be 55, because 55 is a multiple of 5. And then the cube numbers, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So your answer is 1 and 8. Question 3. 2 digits add up to 12, and it's a multiple of 12. But you could have had 48. 4 plus 8 is 12. Or you could have had 84, which is also a multiple of 12, and they add up to 12. Question 4 is a simplifying question. 2a plus 4a is 6a. Collect like terms here. Minus 4, so think of your number line. Minus 4b plus 3b gives you minus b. So it's 2a minus b. You don't need the 1 there, it's just minus b. To multiply the numbers, and you get 12. A times A is A squared. Biggest mistake I bet you've made, you haven't done A squared, and then the B pops on the end, so in alphabetical order there. But you must remember, A times A is A squared. N times N, N squared. So don't forget to square it. In this one, if you collect your like terms on top, you get 6 lots of N squared. Divide it by 2, and you get 3 lots of N squared. Be very careful multiplying at brackets. The 10b drops down, so it's got nothing to do with those brackets. And then you've got minus 3 times 2b, which is minus 6b. And you've also got minus 3 times plus 5, which is minus 15. Negative times positive is a negative. 10b minus 6b is 4b, and then minus 15. But don't forget, when you multiply brackets by negative, you're going to change the sign. Factorise is bracketise. The largest number that goes into 24 and 36 is 12. They're both in the 12 times table, which leaves you with 2c minus 3 as your left-hand side brackets. So factorise is bracketise. Take out the largest factor. Okay, question 5 is all about angles. Remember your angle rules: straight line, 180, triangle, 180, and then with Z angles and X angles coming up later on. The first one is an isosceles triangle, so those two will be the same, so A is 64. Now this is on a straight line, and straight lines add up to 180. So you do 180, take away 64. Gives you 116 for B. Oh no, we're not quite ready for B yet. That's 116. And then these two, because another isosceles triangle, these two will both be B. We've just worked out the difference between 180 and 116 is 64. So you've got to share that 64 between the two B's, which means that each B is 32. So B is 32. And that missing angle is 32 as well. Which means that C is on a straight line, so you can do 180, take away 32, which will give you 148 for C. So just remember your rules: 180 for triangle, 180 for a straight line, and label as you go. Don't be lazy. In this one, got a nice Z angle there, so D is 64. On this one, we've got a Z angle here, so this one is 74. There's a straight line, so 180 on a straight line, take away 74, leaves you with E 106. Question 6 is straight line graphs. Carefully fill in the table. 2 times 0 minus 1 is minus 1. 2 times 3 minus 1 is 5. And when you plot those, be very careful. X goes along the corridor, Y goes up and down the stairs. So 0 minus 1, 0 along, minus 1 down, and then 3 along and 5 up. Don't be lazy. Put your label on there. For the next part, 4 minus half of x. So we've got 4 minus half of 0. Half of 0 is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. And then you've got 4 minus half of 8. Half of 8 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So we've got 0, 4, and 8, 0. And then your line will go, that's pretty good actually, straight line drawer. So that's where y equals 4 minus half x would go. The points of intersection here, where they cross, should be 2, 3. So don't forget to label your graphs, make sure in a straight line. It's difficult here because you've got 2 points, but if there are 3 points, they've got to be in a straight line. Remember, no kinky lines. Question 7, you need to reach for your calculator and think about if you're going to times by 2.54 or divide by 2.54. The first one we've got inches, so we times by 2.54 and it's 1 decimal place. So read the question, highlight it. 1 decimal place, you get 162.6. On the second one, it's a division, so we're going to make it in centimetres, 190 centimetres. Divided by 2.54 and then to the nearest inch, 75 inches. So be very careful, read the question, highlight, decimal places, nearest whatever, but highlight it. Part B, you can plug this into your calculator carefully. It's 5 9 times 104 minus 32, which gives you 40 degrees. Just check if it's realistic. Your temperature should be about 37 or so. So 40 degrees is the high temperature. If you're not at 400, it's obviously not right. Same with this one. 5 9 times minus 4 minus 32. Which is minus 20 or negative 20 degrees. Again, just check if it makes sense. I mean, if you've got negative 2000, it's obviously not going to be that cold in Russia. Right, question 8 is a circle question. We start off with a rectangle, which is base times height, 735. For the radius is 15, half the diameter is the radius. Area, pi r square area for the area of a circle. So on your calculator you press the pi button and you times it by 15 squared, which gives you 706.85834 and so on. But you need to round it to 3 significant figures. 3 significant figures. 1, 2, 3. Look at the 8 and round it up. 707. Which means the difference between them is 28. As a percentage, think fraction first. 28 out of 735. Times it by 100 to make it into a percentage, and then you get 3.8. Remember to read the question. It's 1 decimal place again. Right, Bob's Bikes. Plot your points carefully, wherever they need to go. Something like this. You really take care of the units on the scale. Are you going up in 5s, going up in 2s, going up in 10s, whatever it is. So check them carefully. The line of best fit goes like better than that, but try and get the same number above as there are below and get as close as you can to as many points as you can. It is a negative correlation. It's sloping downwards. So it's negative correlation, and if you have a 5-year-old bike, it's going to be approximately £50. Depending on where you draw your line of best fit, it's going to be about 45 to 50, I'd say, but certainly somewhere around £50 or so. Okay, question 10 is about bearings. Remember, with bearings, we're always labelling. And if you know an angle, label the angle. If you don't know an angle, you need to use your compass to draw an arc. No arc, no mark. So 200 degrees from Dover. Measure 200. Remember, you start at north, you go round clockwise, all the way around to 200, and you draw a straight line down like that. From Calais, it'll be 55 kilometres. Looking at your scale, 55 kilometres is 11 centimetres. So you don't know an angle. So if you don't know an angle, you get your compass, you put it to 11 centimetres, and then from from Calais, you draw 11 centimetre arc. No arc, no mark. Make sure you draw your arc. And then where they cross, that is where Sammy is. And then you can clearly see that it's actually nearest Folkestone, and I made it about 22.5 kilometres, give or take a few, like half, maybe either way. So between 22 and 23 is acceptable for that. But remember, get your arc on there if you don't know an angle. Okay, question 11 is about regular polygons. The exterior angle is 360 divided by number of sides, which in this case is 8, which gives you 45 degrees for the exterior. The interior is on a straight line, so you do 180, take away 45, which gives you 135 for that interior angle. So, when we have our part of the regular polygon, the same polygon here, we know that that would be 45, because there are 8 of them around the circle there. Angles in a circle, revolution, add up to 360, divided by 8, you get 45. This is an isosceles triangle, so if that's 45, these two add up to 135, so do 135 divided by 2, and you get 67.5. And then OAC, well look, you've got 2 lots of 45 to make 90. It's an isosceles triangle, so that must be 45 there. So again, you can label as you go, and you can work things out step by step. Right, just make sure you draw your squares properly on this one. It should be a 4 square and then a 5 square with the right bits. You know, 2 of the easiest marks you're going to get. These are square numbers going up here. These go up in multiples of 4, and if you add them up you get 32 and 45 there at the bottom there. So I'll just read them out in case you can't see. 16, 25, 16, 20, 32, 45 for those ones there. So really take care over adding up. You can either carry on the sequence for the next couple of steps, or this is going to be 7 squared. Then for this one it will be times 4, because it's going up in multiples of 4. And then if there are 100 grey squares, that means it's a 25th pattern. So this is a 25th pattern. There's going to be 25 squared white squares, which is 625. And if you add them up, you get 725 total. Right, final question is about forming and solving expressions. Emma is 3 years younger than Charles. Charles is n. 3 years younger is n minus 3. William is 3 times as old as Emma. So you've got 3 lots of n minus 3, and you've got to use brackets there. It's 3 lots of something. That something needs to go in brackets. So in total we've got Charles plus Emma plus William. So multiply in brackets, you get 3n minus 9, and then collect like terms, you've got 5n minus 12. 5n minus 12. So think Charles, Emma, William, add them up, simplify. The total is 33. So you've got 5n minus 12 is 33. Add 12 to both sides. 5n is 35. Divide by 5, and you get n equals 7. So if n is 7, William is 7 minus 3, which is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So you can always go back and check these, make sure that they work with the information you're given. So I hope you had a lovely holiday, and I look forward to seeing you all next term. Make sure you bring these in marked for January.